We yana kaua ye ya sawa ye sawa ye Daneana toea hiana seya. Welcome, 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 holy ones. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, I'm so grateful to be in this space with you. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the love. I'm so honored and grateful. We walk together, holy ones. We walk together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for being all the spaces of your light. Yes, in all the ways you are being it. We have a beautiful family here together, and we are finding more and more spaces of ourselves. Yes, as we move into these sacred divine alignments of our beings. Yes, our divine sacred love, our divine sacred heart. Yes. All right, let's just make sure we got a couple more. All right. Okay. And I think everybody's mics are on mute. If you could check it for me just to be sure. I think I've hit these here. And we are recording this. We will share this on the Patreon platform as well. And for those who are coming in via the video, we are so grateful for you, Holy One. Thank you for being in this space via the video. There's no space, distance, time with quantum energy, with quantum teachings, higher dimensional understandings, birth higher dimensional realities, and we're all doing this together. Yes? Now, this also may find its way to YouTube. Some of my content you may have noticed lately on YouTube. It's my Being the New Human from last year. I even think I threw in something from the year before that. It's timeless, but someone may be seeing this on YouTube one day as well. So we welcome you, Holy One, in whatever way you found your way here. All right, now we're going to jump right into our glorious Being the New Human and allow ourselves to look at some specific spaces together and embrace the energies that are available. So I like to move quickly. Some may be new to the space. I got more patrons came on this month than I think I've had come on in 1 month in a while. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm grateful. All of these new faces, you are so welcomed here. Holy ones, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's such a beautiful thing when you see the growth, you see the emails, the comments, and the understandings. What is the commonality? What is the commonality? Home, love, reconnection, that sense of almost like breathing, really breathing in. Yes, like you've been waiting to take the breath. And I get that same exact hit or sensation every single connection I make with every single one of you. There isn't one where that isn't felt. And for those who have met me in person, you know how I am. I can't let go. I just love to hold everyone in my arms. And I always just whisper in the ear and say, just give me 1 more minute. Let me hold you 1 more minute. But I can feel the heart centers. I can feel it all. And I'm so, so grateful for each and every one of you. So thank you. We're moving through such really big, beautiful spaces as we're truly shifting into implementing being, living from the higher vibrational spaces of our beings. For a very long time, this Being the New Human class was more of a hands-on toolbox type of deal to help people navigate family experiences and workspace experiences and partner relationship experiences, the mind, their own thought processes. So for a long time, this was really like boots on the ground, learn how to walk, talk, be you in your sacred light. And this class is still that way, but we are in a very different space of vibration, Holy One. And I still share tips and tools, but there's a depth, an expansiveness here, and it is you. It is your presence. It is your consciousness. It is your divinity that is emanating through this space. So thank you for that. All right, we're going to jump in here. When you don't need to get there, you become there. Oh, I like that one, right? When you don't need to get there, you become there. Ya sane yanakeya. All right, so for some, I don't need to go down this road too far, but for any who are curious or who would like to solidify this space a bit with me, and when we hear it, when we speak it, we are anchoring it. Yes, for ourselves and for others. So the whole, when I get that job, everything's gonna be great. When I have that relationship, everything's gonna fall in place. When I finally heal this space, everything's gonna be good. We're constantly in a space of getting there, trying to get whatever it is that will make us feel whole, happy, home, safe, loved, all of the above. And it is a tricky thing when you're in the beginning processes of understanding it. It really is, because you're still navigating through the emotions and the thought processes that are very steeped in the lower vibrational forms of what you're creating by feeling like you're not there yet. So feeling like you're not there yet is where lack lives. Feeling like you're not there yet is where disease lives. Sorrow, unhappiness, loneliness, all of these things live in the I'm not there yet, you know? How do you get there? Well, I'm going to give you some things that work for me. You may have things that are specific for you. Some of you that are there, or that you're working with that are working and you're getting there. But let's look at this just a little bit for a minute before we get into the toolbox. If you keep talking about something with your own self, in your own thoughts, or with your family and your friends, whatever that something is, good or bad, you will see more of it in your life because you're engaging it. You're engaging it with speech, you're engaging it with your thoughts, and most likely that also means you're engaging it with your feelings, yes? Because when we speak, when we think, we're feeling. Well, those are all the ways in which we engage, and that means align, and then come in contact with that same energy in the experience reflected back to us called life, okay? So right away, for no matter where we're on this journey, because I get a lot of different students. I have students that are coming in the door looking for what just happened. I just realized I'm more, right? We remember, we know, everyone understands that space completely. And then I have somebody who maybe has known this for 20 years, yes, or more. So no matter where you are on this, I need you to allow continued expansion, because we're ever expanding. I am always, every day, every moment, moving into a new space of my being, yes? And I'm always being mindful of, what is this mouth of mine saying? Yes? What is this mind of mine thinking? What is this being feeling? Because I know I have solidified and anchored my faith and my knowledge in the educated understanding of how I create. We are all creating in every single moment, every breath, every thought. And there's a really big clearing going on in the solar plexus right now. So just allow. Yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're always creating. So this isn't like something you can opt out of, right? We can't say, well, that's nice, but it seems like too much work to figure out what she's saying. So I'm going to just keep doing this way. Well, this way is what I'm saying. We all create by how we speak and how we think and how we feel and so forth. It's the way in which our energy, our eternal soul, which is in your form, moves and then emanates out and then aligns the absolute resonant energy that's already there in the field. Everything's there. You're not having to make anything. It's there. Well, I wouldn't say we're not having to make anything, because I do think source is always ever expanding and the field itself is ever expanding. So there is creation at all times, but most of everything we're looking for on this level of dimension, understanding would already be there. So as you have that knowledge, that's your tool. As you have that understanding, that's your go-to, that's your asset, that's your PowerPoint, that you understand yourself, that you understand. That's what a new human is. A new human understands that it is consciousness. It understands it is the divine within the form, yes. And so the new human then implements. That's the word. Hello, hello, hello. Let's make that the word of the day. Anybody ever see Sesame Street? All right. Well, it's a show in America. I'm sure it's everywhere, maybe in the world now. But when I was a little girl, I loved Sesame Street. And they had like a word of the day and a letter of the day and a number of the day, and they'd put it on the screen. So we're going to go with implement. All right. So implement is our word of the day. And what does implement mean? We have a lot of different, sometimes even languages that come into these videos, and they'll say, can you say it in another way? So let's say it in a couple ways. Implement means to put into motion. It means to put into action. It means to allow what you know to then be how you live. Yes? Yes. So we've said this before. You can have all the knowledge in the world about how things work in a book, but if you don't open the book, read the book, and then implement, put into action what is in that book, it's just knowledge in a book. All right. So everyone who comes into contact with this work, the Being the New Human classes, any of the stuff I offer, you have the opportunity to put it into action. I can't put it in action in your life. I can align the heck out of the connective points, and I can bring you into a space where you'll hear you, feel you, see you, but you have to choose to be you. Yes? All right. So your asset is understanding how you work. Your asset, your power is understanding the way in which you are energy forever. You are human temporarily. When you are in an experience that feels big, overwhelming, traumatic, daunting, difficult, uncomfortable, heavy, do your best, Holy One, to not judge yourself if this isn't easy, because it's not going to be easy when you start. I remember lifting those spaces off of myself and crawling out from underneath them. So it's not going to be easy at first. I talk sharp sometimes, it may seem, because I'm like, do this, know this, right? But I understand those spaces, yes? Be compassionate with yourself as you initiate, as you allow, yes, yourself to begin to live from this knowing. Because what's going to happen is, as you implement the knowing that you're eternal and this is temporal, it's all going to start to crack. It's all going to start to crumble, and it's all going to start to move like an earthquake type thing or something. And that can look very different in your life in different spaces. That can be the job starts falling apart, or the relationship starts getting rocky. But everything has the opportunity to shift with you. So don't be afraid, don't be scared, don't judge it, don't get in your head about it. Trust your flow and know if it's getting rocky, if it's starting to move, it's because you're moving. Yes? It's because you're shifting your energy and you're saying, wait a minute, I'm eternal. This is temporal. And now all of a sudden, your being has owned its PowerPoint. Yes? Your being has owned its power. And once it owns its power, and it can be incremental, it can be in and out, it can be a wobble at first, that's okay. But once it begins to own it, the first time, that first glimpse, that first taste, that first tap in, the cracks start. Yes, and the shift begins. And anything in the life that isn't resonant with the understanding you're going into, anything in the life that is not aligned with the space of your vibration as you begin to open up to this knowing of yourself, will begin to have the opportunity to shift and calibrate into your alignment. So your relationships, your job, all the spaces of you will be given the opportunity to realign. I mentioned this, I think, a lot of places, but I'm going to mention it again here. Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway. It's a movie that's a little older, but it's really good. And I've watched it multiple times as I've expanded my understanding of everything. And that movie gets better and better for me every time. There's a lot in there. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But there's a scene in the movie that they did a fantastic job. Some people say it's more like a documentary than a movie, but there's a scene in the movie. I won't give a lot away in case you haven't seen it, but it is a really good visual for us to wrap our head around how many increments of us there are in any given moment, how many opportunities of alignment there are with one single thought, with the shift of that thought in just a teeny bit of a direction either way. And there's this other entire timeline. Okay, it's a really beautiful concept. It's a big concept. And if you watch it and you see that scene, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. It's just fascinating to me. But when you have the moment where you are remembering who you are, and that moment is not a, oh, I remembered, now I'm done. That is a continual remembrance. Yes, that is a continual expansion of the being, because who you really are and who I really am is so vast. We could spend our eternal life remembering. Does that make sense to you? Yes. And there's a lot of energy moving in the breasts and in the chest. Really beautiful, hot energy. Yes, I love it. All right. Now, so when you're having this space where you're remembering who you are and you're choosing to be more mindful of implementing the educated understanding of yourself, that your words are power, that your thoughts are power, that your feelings are power, in the understanding that you're actually plugging in to an alignment that you will then experience. Allow yourself compassion and understanding if you find yourself plugging back into old spaces and then going, oh, I said that again. Oh, I did that again. Oh, I felt that again. That's okay. That's you giving yourself the opportunity to know thyself, right? It's you giving yourself, me giving myself the opportunity to understand the spaces of ourselves that are ready to shift. That's all we're doing. We're seeing ourselves. So don't get mad for seeing yourself, right? Don't get mad for seeing yourself. And then allow yourself to just gently redirect. Oh, yes. Here's the line I've used for years. And I don't really find I have to use it as much anymore because I'm running in a better default setting than I ever have. But I'm open to spaces that I've had spaces come out of nowhere. And I've been like, why is this here? Why is this person saying this to me? You know, like, where did this come from? And I have had to bring it back out of my pocket and then analyze the space, because it sounds so maybe cold and scientific, but you're so vast and you're so intelligent and you're so powerful that truly analyzing the space and being open to what you're bringing yourself through your communication of the experience, because that's a communication. That's like a letter from you to you, whatever you're experiencing. And so the line is, when you have a moment where the things are cracking or something's coming up to be seen, so that you can reset your frequency, your dial in, whatever you want to say. My line was and is, that is a timeline I no longer align with. And again, that's great for that Innerstellar movie, because like all those, that one visual that they show in one quick scene, it's innumerable how many timelines you have available to you. It's not one, it's innumerable, because there's these little teeny incremental energetic points of a decision, a choice, and even an understanding coming in shifts your alignment, because it's energy. It's all energy. So that's a timeline I no longer align with. If you're feeling something come in, okay, and Barbie said it's on max right now. So that's on max right now, she says, so that's helpful. Thank you for that. So if I'm just going to read a little bit of the notes because a lot was coming in this week. If you are continually or even moderately, that's important. If you are continually or even moderately bringing up a topic, a lack, a need, a health issue, a relationship issue, a trial, a tribulation, you are engaging the alignment to flow in your life. So we just need to own that. Is that scary? No. Is it powerful? Yes. Yeah, kianatoa. Because if thinking of lack can align lack, can thinking of wealth align wealth? If thinking of what's wrong in your body can strengthen what's wrong in your body, can thinking what's right in your body strengthen what's right? And I always tell everyone, because I have to in the space that we are still functioning in, if you need to see a doctor, see a doctor. But try implementing at the same time, because I love, doctors are fantastic at confirming miracles. That's what I think. Hello, can you see that with me? And so when someone goes to the doctor, but at the same time, for weeks leading up to that appointment, they saw their cells healthy and vibrant. They saw their bones strong. They saw their heart and their organs doing all the things that those organs do at the optimal alignment of sacred divine flow. You spend time focusing your energy on those types of thoughts and feeling those types of feelings and talking about those types of things. And when you show up at that doctor's office, it's going to be reflected in what that doctor tells you. And some spaces take more time than others. Don't judge it. That's the head. Get out of the head and go into the heart. The heart is where your power lies. All right, let's see. Here's a big one. This is a big one with this topic, so please hear me. You don't need to lie. You just need to be mindful of what you speak. You do not need to lie. People say to me all the time, yeah, but aren't I then, am I lying? Because I'm saying I'm grateful and I'm still not grateful over here. Was there anything at all you can be grateful for? How about this class? Let's do that. Everyone can be grateful for our connection. Everyone can be grateful we found one another, right? So there you go. Now everybody has a grateful. And that's the thing. We're not lying. We're just choosing where we place our focus. Yes, we're choosing what comes out the mouth. We're choosing what we allow our thoughts to ponder, think upon. Yes, we're choosing what we allow our feelings to feel and run that energy. So you do not need to lie. You just need to be a master of what you think. You do not need to lie. You just need to be a sovereign being in what you choose to feel. There are many things to speak about. There are many things to talk and feel and think and ponder. Be mindful of what you have been choosing to engage. That's all it is. All right, now, the shifts of higher alignment are inevitable once we are now. So we started off this beautiful space by saying, when you don't need to get there, you become there, right? You drop that whole thing of the when, this, then that. You drop that whole thing. You become a master of this whole you. And the shifts of higher alignment are inevitable. They're inevitable. You can't keep them from you. You can't keep abundance away from you. You can't keep health away from you. You can't keep relationships that are beautiful away from you because you resonate that field. Yane kauatea. So think about what you share when someone says to you, how was your day? And this isn't judgment, because I do this. I caught myself this very week as I was preparing for this class. I had a couple things here and there that were prickly, let's call them that. Little experiential spaces that I didn't enjoy, but they weren't horrible. They were just annoying. Do you understand me? And so think about what you say when someone says, how was your day? Or how are you? For the most part, we tend to say what went wrong. Don't we? I mean, honestly, most of the time, if something went wrong that day, most people will say, well, I didn't sleep very good. Or, I woke up and I had a weird dream, or I had an experience at the store. The lady was really slow, or she was not nice, whatever it is. And some people have really dense stuff that pours out their mouth. And that's not a judgment. That's called information, education, right? We have to be mindful of even how we look at this space. But it doesn't matter if it's an easy space or a hard space. Think about what you share first. What do you share first, right? And then allow yourself to be masterful of what you share. And if you need to talk to somebody, absolutely. But please, let's be honest. Sometimes we utilize that as a crutch or a excuse of how we can get to talk about what's wrong, because we need someone to hear us. We need someone to walk with us or understand us. And, it's all right if you have like a someone, but if it becomes where you're talking to every single person you know that will listen to you, and you're saying the same story, you will never have a new story. Yes, you will never have a new story. You will replay that same thing again and again and again. So let's all be mindful and let's start speaking a story you want to see replayed, right? I've done this. I implemented this. I came out of severe anxiety, panic attacks, medication, perimenopause, menopause, like all kinds of stuff I had going on in my body. All kinds of stuff I had going on reflectively in my life. I've walked this entire thing. I've used every tool that I'm telling you about. I didn't have the expansiveness of understanding I have now, but I did have, for where I was at that time, it probably was just as expansive, if that makes sense, for my being as it was processing. So allow yourself to be mindful of what you tend to share, how you're sharing it. And you say, well, I don't have anything good to share, so I can't talk to anybody. And I know, right? Somebody have a day they feel that way, right? There's always something in there waiting for you to find it. There's always something in there, your life, your being, waiting for you to find it, that is worth being grateful for. I can give you one that every single one of you have that is beyond this space, and it is priceless in every way, and you have it. And that is that you are surrounded by love. You are surrounded by love, and you are surrounded by light. You are surrounded by beings, spaces of yourself in higher consciousness. That's the words we use, but it's not perfect. And you are also surrounded by other beings that are spaces of source, spaces of God, whatever word you want to use, that are with you always. And you say, well, why does it have to be this way? I can't see them, I can't hear them, and everything's feeling really yucky, bad, horrible, whatever your word is. Because this is your design for you to find the way back to you. If it doesn't feel good, you are not aligned with your soul and your heart and the passion of your being. You are out of alignment. That is how we flag ourselves. We don't get sick because we get sick just because. We don't have horrible relationships just because. We don't have a sucky job just because. All those things happen because we make those choices. We enter into those spaces out of alignment with our soul. So they flag the heck out of us in all the various ways in which they come in our faces. And then we can choose to hear ourselves and change the energy. All right, let's look a little bit deeper here, please. All right. Authenticity is your most powerful asset in manifesting abundance in all areas of your life. Now, this is so important. I used to teach, and you'll find a video out there, I'm sure, of me saying that love is the highest vibrational space flow to connect, to create from and in. And I believe love is really important, but inauthentic love is not love. Inauthentic love is not love. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we can enter into spaces and we can begin growing and expanding and embracing ourselves and others, and it can feel beautiful. But we're still in this space of trying to save everyone else. We're still in this space of savior syndrome, of pleasing, yes, pleasing everyone, saying the right thing, doing the right thing that we think we're supposed to do. That's not authentic. And that's not love. We can be a very, very loving person, but if we're still martyring ourselves, that's not authentic. And that's not love. So authenticity is the key, my friend. It is the highest vibrational space of your being. And authenticity means even when you learn concepts, teachings, understandings, for instance, I teach ACASMA Quantum Energy. People learn how to be facilitators. This is a really good example of what I'm talking about. Some will want to emulate, copy exactly what I do, like the way I do a video, the way I speak, the way I use my hands. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a very beautiful and powerful way to convey the space, be the space. But when the teachings of ACASMA Quantum Energy, in this particular example, when the teachings are the core and the student understands the teachings and the student lives the teachings and the student does so from their authentic divine being, their way, that's another level. Yakene yanatawa. That's another level. That's another level. And it takes trust. It takes getting out of your head. It takes living in your heart, and being the new human is all of that. Being the old human lives from what is happening outside of them, is directing the show. If things look bad, then things are bad for the old human. If they're told they're bad, if they're told they're fearful, if they're told, they believe it and they live from it. The new human lives from the sovereign soul within. The new human lives from, implements from, acts and reacts from its understanding of itself as divinity within form. Ask yourself that when you're having an experience, any experience, mundane, profound. Ask yourself, am I living as divinity in form? That's a big one. Am I living as divinity in form? Or am I living as someone that believes themselves to be separated out from everything? You are not separate. You are one with the space of, I call it prime consciousness. You are one with the space of that which all comes from and is. You are one with every person who is here in this live as you see these different faces. You are one with all of those you see out in public. Now, I can get a little trippy for just a moment. There are some inorganic things going on in our world, in this particular space of our dimension existence. You are not one with them, but that's an entirely different class. So, allowing your authenticity and implementing from the educated understanding of what you are and who you are and why you are will then reflect back to you in all the experiential spaces you have and are. And if you say you're not sure on how to be authentic, let me just say that if you will structure your passion, your authenticity can flow. And I know, isn't that funny? Structure and flow in the same sentence. But think about it this way. Like AQE facilitators. They learn how to facilitate in a ACASMA Quantum Energy session. So they have a structured space of understanding, right? Okay. But then they can lean into their passion and they can say, what makes me happy in the way in which I could share this, convey this, do this, the way I would set up my space, the way that I would reach out to people, my content, the way that I would present myself. What makes me feel alive? What makes me feel joyful beyond measure? That's the passion part. So they take that passion and they allow the structure of the knowledge and they implement through the passion. Now that knowledge just got set on fire to the next level of understanding. It's hot. It's so hot. And everybody can see its flame. Everybody can feel its heat and everybody wants to get warm. Not because they did it the way I did it, but because they learned the understanding, they live the understanding, and then they be it through their passion. All right. So structure your passion. If you are in a space that you can't jump right now because you have a job that you don't like, I hear a lot. Okay. So I have to speak from spaces I hear from different people. Some people are still shifting out of these spaces, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to do what you need to do in those, what you call older spaces, as you create the new space. And that allows you the room for the energy to shift. And you're not limiting yourself by saying it has to be any certain way, because remember, you dropped the when I get there, I'll be happy thing. Remember that in the beginning of the class? Because you dropped that. Now you, universe, source, all of the above can come flying in. And the minute you say, I'm going to engage my passion, I'm going to utilize my understanding, and I'm going to come from what makes me happy, while I'm still doing whatever I need to do, all the doors are going to open that are ready to open, that you're ready to have open, and be okay with that. Be okay with analyzing a space that maybe doesn't open as fast as you want. Be okay with being curious about why. Looking at it and saying, what am I bringing myself in this message? Oh, okay. I'm going to choose this path, or I'm going to be open to it happening in a different way. We tend to get in our head. Yes, we live in our heads for the most part. That's the very first thing the higher dimensional beings that I work with said in a session. They said humans need to get out of their heads and into their hearts. And that was 2020. And it's something we have to be mindful, excuse the pun, because we're talking about the head, yes, the mind. We have to be mindful of that's a process, okay? So you can't say, well, I got out of my head, I live in my heart now. It's every breath. It's every breath acknowledgement of, yes? Does that make sense? Now, what happens though is it becomes a default setting, and authenticity runs easily. It becomes a default setting, and passion, you recenter yourself to passion all the time. And this is real. I mean it. I'm a very busy schedule, right? I go from the minute I open my eyes to the minute I close them at night. And I really do every single day of the week. But I love what I do. It's my passion. So I'm able to do it. But even in that, there'll be spaces of me where I'll say, what do I need to do? Here's structured passion, or structured authenticity. What do I need to do? I look at my schedule. I see what's on it. I know what is, I need to provide. I need to make happen. I need to show up for. And then I say, what would be the most beneficial thing for me to do right now that I love? Because there's a lot of things I need to do, but what do I love the most out of all those things I need to do? What do I have the most passion about all the things I need to do? And then I will do those things first. And the things that aren't as passion filled, but I still love them, but they're not the top of it, they're going to be done after I do the other guy. Why? Because I'm aligning everything then to the highest space. All right. So remember that as you're navigating every day, even if it's dishes, laundry, cooking, and kids, or if it's, you know, go to work all day long, come home and do dishes, laundry, cooking, and kids. I don't know. Everybody's got a different space, right? Maybe you're in school, whatever your thing is. Every single thing, even like a bath, a shower. What do you like more? What brings you joy? Start to live so present that passion can be found in even, I'm going to take a shower. Maybe you put a little essential oil in the shower, or maybe you hang a thing of eucalyptus, or you know, whatever your thing is, I don't know, but adorn yourself, nurture yourself, love yourself, care for yourself, date yourself in a sense, right? You know, when you have a date, what happens when you have a date with somebody for the first time? They usually show up smelling the best they're ever going to smell, looking the best they're ever going to look, and they probably hand you flowers or something. I don't know. I haven't dated in 30 some years, but you get the idea, right? You get the idea of what you're being for you, and that you're trusting and allowing your authenticity. It is the highest vibrational space for you to be in. I receive a lot of emails, a lot of videos, a lot of photos, everybody sending me stuff from their lives, and I love it. Please keep sending. And I'm grateful for your patience when it takes me a little while to get back to you, but I always do. And I want to tell you, these videos, these insights into your lives, I get to have the first row seat, if you will, on watching what we're talking about unfold. Thank you. Thank you. You are the implementation. Yes, you are the activators. You are the front wave. I told you that a long time ago. You're the front wave of the shift of humanity. Everything you're doing, whether you're listening to me from a space of been there, done that, got it, or you're listening to me and you're writing everything down and you're thinking, this is gold. I've found understanding. I can find my way. It doesn't matter what increment, anywhere in between. No matter where you're coming from, the moment you hear me, yes, this moment, whenever you find this, this is now more available to the collective. Yes, Yanotua, because you heard it, because you listened to it, because you allowed the thought to go into your processor, and you allowed the energy then to vibrate out into your field, because that's what happens. When you hear me or anyone, so be mindful what you hear, yes, anything you put into this glorious system of you then emanates out to your field. And it is available for you then in the creation of your own life, and it is also available then for the collective of humanity. And then it emanates out beyond that into the collective of the all. And there's all kinds of increments in between there. It's so vast, it's so mind-blowing, but it's so beautiful. So all of this is information, and information is energy, and it's going to move through your body, through your being, through your emotions, through some of you, this will turn into a song. It will. It'll turn into a hum or a song from your soul that will be coming forth to wrap it all up as it moves through your form into being a space of you. Some of you will come through and you may feel the need to write. You may feel the need to draw. You may feel the need to dance. Trust yourself. Trust yourself and allow. When you are allowing that flow of you, however you are allowing it, it is again an implementation of the energies. All right? Okay, I'm going to just check this chat really quickly here. Let's see. Okay, so Sandra says, I find letting people just speak honestly in whatever manner they need gives me faster insight to what they need. No censorship is fastest way of understanding. Yes, you're reading their energy, beautiful Sandra. Thank you for sharing that. And we all have the ability to do that. And the more we're conscious of our own energy, the more we're aware of what we're doing in our own being, the more we're able then to begin to pick it up as with more clarity in the other spaces of it, that it's coming reflectively back to us through people, through what we're having connection with. Could evil hypnotize us into feeling love? Well, if your belief structure is that it can, then it is possible. I would believe whatever you believe, you allow yourself the opportunity to engage. I believe that we who are in this space function from an energetic vibrational alignment that it's very difficult for denser energies to come in contact with us. Now, there could be some here that are just leaving that. And how you will know is if you hold a lot of fear. So if you are a fearful person, and there's nothing wrong with this, I have tons of video on moving through fear. I lived in fear for 40 some years of my life, horrible nightmares, really bad thought processes, terrified of demons. I lived that life, okay? But I always had a belief structure inside of there that said that in that point of my life, that they could try, but they couldn't harm me. They couldn't get to me because I was at that time, I was in the hands of the divine. And then I understood as I grew and moved through those fears that I was not only in the hands of the divine, I was those hands. All right? So, when you are in a space of fear or contemplation of evil, allow yourself to remind yourself of who you are and what you are. The vibrational distance between those spaces is vast. It is vast. And I have encountered in actual, like, experiential ways in the physical form, I have encountered the energies of what we would call dense, but I also know, and this needs to be heard, I also know that my being designed and created that experience so that I could get here. Nothing was done to me. I was never in jeopardy or danger. The actual events needed to happen, the fearful spaces of blankets moving down on my body, and it wasn't sleep paralysis. I've had that as well. This was different. A hand pushing on my chest once. I mean, I've had a lot of really, really interesting spaces, but I know that I designed them so that I could get here. Because when I walked through them and I didn't run from them, I came out on this side. Does this make sense to somebody? All right, let's look a little further here. I was thinking of a former boyfriend, arms dealer, Hidden Hills, California, love at first sight. Wonder if he has a past life because I still feel love. Well, let's see this. Hold on a second. You could also be connecting with his highest self, Sandra. All right. His highest self, he's, doesn't matter if he was a arms dealer or what, is he's a human form. He has the soul space of eternity just as we do. And choices in the lifetime experiential spaces are just that. And they are his to then be his own journey of expansion. But you could be connecting with him. You dreamt of him last night, his highest self. You could also use you lean in and trust yourself, Sandra. You could use it as an understanding of if you maybe should just send some love their way. So just a blessing. Maybe he's in a space of shift right now. Maybe he's realizing he wants to change something in his life right now. Or maybe he's seeking some type of understanding or guidance or protection or love. Who knows? And you might have been pinged by that because you had a connection with him and you could just send love. Okay. That's the powerful thing to send, and cover him in the spaces he's in with love. And whether he's here or whether he's in another, if he's transition, doesn't matter. Anything that masks the body or natural smells like killing our planet. No. Well, first, let's all allow ourselves to understand the spaces we've been, the spaces we are, and the spaces we're going, and be mindful of the spaces we engage, because there are spaces we need to clean up, absolutely. But the more we can anchor the spaces that we are in that are clean, the more that the spaces that need to be cleaned will become cleaned. I hope this is conveying correctly. The most powerful thing you can do is see the good You have to see the good. It's not that you ignore what is wrong. Yes, you make the changes on what is wrong every time you have the opportunity to do so, but your power lies in when you look at what is right. Yes, all right. Yes. I've been feeling the call to personalize my understandings of Acasma so much, so synchronized. I love that. Beautiful divine one, Lucretia. Thank you so much for sharing. Some of you may be in Lucretia's Acasma Pod of Light. She is in her ascension pod, very beautiful pod. She is a hearth witch, I believe, beautiful Lucretia. And I think she brings that vibe into her pod, lovely. Let's see. I send love and light and healing to those spaces when they appear to help heal them. Beautiful. Awesome confirmation, Doreen. Thank you for saying that. That's just what I said to do up above with Sandra. So Sandra, there's a second confirmation on send some love. Send some love to that individual in your life you had that space with, all right? All right, I'm experiencing such joy, making it my own. That's beautiful. Holly, I've also started to understand that I can do this too. Open it up my way. I love it. Yes, Holly, you have just been so expansive in your pod over there. That's Eternal Light Within a Cosmopod. I think Greg's here. He's in that pod, I believe. Yes, he is. 2 thumbs up from Greg, Holly. He's liking that pod. That's lovely. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I might go back up here a little bit. All right. Okay. Let's see. I miss Chantil's, but aren't these repeating things? Wait, let me see. Did I miss more than one? How is I trying to navigate? Deleted, rewritten. Okay. So yes. All right. It happens a lot. Sandra wrote in, new timelines are what I'm trying to navigate. Both my children's memories have been deleted and rewritten. And if this is true for them, it may be happening to others. When I share the actual memory, they remember. Yes, it's the Mandela effect thing as well. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that. You see it online a lot where people will say, when I was a kid, you know, Richard Simmons wore a little sweatband. And now if you look up Richard Simmons, he doesn't have a sweatband. And they say he never had a sweatband. Well, I remember he had a sweatband. The really big one is, what's his name? Tom Cruise, Risky Business. Bum, 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 bum. He comes sliding across the floor and he's wearing a shirt and sunglasses and all. Well, in the one that they have for this timeline, at least the last time I looked, I haven't looked this morning, he doesn't have any sunglasses on and he's wearing a pink shirt. When I was a kid, he had a white shirt and sunglasses. And so when Sandra says new timelines are happening and her children's memories are different, she's not crazy. This is really happening. That's that interstellar space I spoke of, where that's visual of those increments, so many vast increments of realities based on choices, alignment, and we can pop in and out of them. And once we start to understand this more and we start to live from this more, we're going to start to use this knowledge more, and we're going to start to like, oof, I'm going to go over to this reality today, and we're just going to play the heck with it. It's going to be fantastic. But we got to learn how to be our reality first in the most optimal mastery level, and then we can go, you know, dancing all over. All right, let's see, Chantil, but aren't these repeating things based on beliefs we have, even if they are buried beliefs? How do we change that belief that keeps bringing them up? You have to change your response to the belief, or the belief will keep coming. Your response is feeding the belief. So if you want to change the belief, you have to respond to it differently. That's a timeline I no longer align with, meaning that's a belief I no longer carry. So when I'm upset by what someone says to me, I have to say to myself, wait a minute, would my eternal being be upset right now? No, my eternal being would not be upset right now. They would not. Would my higher dimensional light being team be upset by what was said right now? Even if it was horrific, I'm sorry, this is a really big one for people to get. But even if it's horrific or traumatic, they hold a very different viewpoint of what is happening, because they are in this very, and it's not a lack of love at all, but they're in a very detached space of vantage point. They held no judgment. But isn't that good though? Because if they held judgment, then how would they be an effective team of light to assist us when we're wobbling all over the place? So the fact that they don't have that judgment and they can be that detached is what is actually a blessing. And so you say, well, like if they saw the Holocaust, they're not going to see the Holocaust like we do. They aren't. They're going to see it as something that maybe propelled humanity to wake up, and humanity need to wake up so badly in such a big manner that it needed the biggest slap in the face ever. Okay? So when you in your own individual life have a space with a belief or an old timeline or something coming up, you got to give yourself that compassion. You've got to give yourself that knowledge, that space, that curiosity to step back and be like, I'm not sure where this belief is, what this belief is, but I know this is not an alignment I choose. And use your go-to redirect. Pull out of your back pocket something you love. Think about it. You know, somebody's speaking to you and they're making you angry. Well, instead of thinking about what they said for 5 days, because believe me, I've done it, and going back over how angry you were for 5 days, every day, day and night, and thinking about maybe I need to put a protection symbol up because this person's really blah, 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 you know, whatever, right? Instead, that's not, that's an option. That's an option. You can absolutely walk down that road. I have walked that road a lot. But instead of that road, you can choose to see that person, see that space, see that experience in a different alignment. And what do you do for that? You have to create it. You have to imagine it. You have to envision it. I have had family members say things to me that have blown my mind. And I've been like, why would they say that to me? And that really hurt, whatever. And then I just said, like, really fast, really quick, because I'm implementing the understanding I'm giving you here. So in that moment, they're still talking, it's still hurting. In that moment, in my being, I'm going, eternal soul. That's what I'm saying in my head. Eternal soul, temporal, temporal. This is temporary. Navigate with power, Andrea. Open your mouth with power or keep it closed with power. Sometimes it's even more powerful to keep your mouth shut. And then I start seeing the person and I say, they've got to be coming from fear. If this is coming out of their mouth, something's wrong, something's off. They are detached from their heart, whatever's going on. And so I just start seeing them feeling safe. And I start sending that energy to them. So instead of me sending, you're a jerk, I hate you, why did you say that? Which is not going to help the space. That's just going to lock us into that lower vibration. But instead of sending that, I immediately start thinking and sending, you are loved, you are safe. I don't understand what you're saying, but I still send you love. Some of them have been harder to do, but I'm always better for it. I'm always better for it, and they're always better for it. All right, let's see. If we're triggered, we need to find the core of why we're triggered. It is helpful. It is helpful, but do not allow that to become an obsessive focus, because then you're constantly triggering yourself to find a trigger because it's become an addiction. I hope that conveys correctly. You do not have to have, here's the thing. I learned this in my being. You can be different. Absolutely. But in my life, I learned I don't need to know all the whys. I don't need to know every past life I ever had. I don't need to know every future life I'm going to have. I don't need to know every belief structure that's making a this or that or the other. All I need to do is choose what I am now. This is the power. This is the power. The others get us stuck in cycles of healing, cycles, even in beautiful spiritual worlds, cycles of healing. All right? I'd rather be in cycles of expansion. I have no problem enjoying studying and talking and engaging and doing energy work and holding massive, beautiful grids of light and all these fantastic things we have to put our focus on. These are the new human. We can either continue to focus on the old human and be that space of ourselves, and the breast and the chest is just wide open right now, you guys, or we can place our focus on all the glorious spaces of this new field we are. We don't live where we used to. I said this the other day in a class. We're not in Kansas anymore. It's a line from a film, but we're not in Kansas anymore. We're on a new field. So start looking for the new field. Stop having to go look at what happened yesterday or why you're saying what you're saying or why you're doing what you're doing. That's a fantastic question and comment she made, because everybody is staying in that boat, and that boat's getting so full, it's just stuck. You do not, you can choose to realign it, create it, You're the designer, you're the aligner. It's all in your hands. Whatever you've thought in the past, whatever you've witnessed in the past, whatever you've experienced in the past is the past. Yane, when you allow it to be the past. Yane kaua. It becomes the present when we keep bringing it up to dig in it. Does that make sense? All right. Barbie, beautiful Barbie. She's here today for the first time. I love you, Barbie. Mwah. Hello, hello. I acknowledged my expansion when I faced the man that shot my son in the head face to face in court and didn't feel anger or hate. I felt compassion and love to help him change. That's beautiful, Barbie. If Barbie can handle that, I think we can handle, a lot of the stuff we might be encountering in our everyday lives. Barbie wrote me privately about that ahead of time, so I wasn't blown away. If anybody's like, how can Andrea read that? And Barbie did share that with me already. So, yeah. So there's always, always, always a space for gratitude. There's always, always, always a space for love. Why? You are that. It's your essence. So if you're not seeing it, it's because you're looking for it out here. It's in here. It's your eternal soul essence. It's always with you. Always, always, always. All right, let's see. Last one, and then I got to jump off here. Holly, I love how we can make this lifetime more fun. Yes, I love that. I have been asking for more joy in this life. I am so done with all the heaviness density, so over it. I can feel the lightness, but grounded, anchored in more love. It's incremental, and I'm glad it is, because if it came all at once, it would be too much for me. I would just float up and be light. I know what you mean, Holly. I also want to be in human form, but the new human. Oh my gosh, I got to save this. I got to share this. This is good stuff, Holly. Thank you for this. And Holly, I have watched your journey and I marvel at you. I bow before you. You are incredibly brave and beautiful. And I've seen the spaces you've walked through. And this year has been your year, Holly. Boy, you've been coming out left and right, claiming your passion, being your authenticity, and it's showing so beautifully, reflectively. So thank you for sharing that. All right, you guys, I love all of this. What a beautiful chat. What a beautiful space. Thank you for being it. It exists because your presence is here. Thank you, Holy Ones. Thank you. All right. Well, until we see each other again in the physical, we will be together in the quantum. I love you. I love you. I love you. Mwah. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for that love. Thank you, Holly.